Staying calm for me is probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. Um, as a kid growing up, I've always struggled to stay calm in moments when the pressure was the highest, when I really had to be composed. As human beings, we become very instinctively reactionary when we are under pressure, when we are under stress. We lose focus, we lose track of what's important. And that's why in this video, I want to break down how important it is to stay focused and stay calm under pressure, and what people can do to stay calm under pressure. What kind of mindsets can they implement to stay calm under pressure? And these are some techniques I have used over time in different scenarios, in different situations, in order to achieve those goals. First thing I would say is learn the litmus test of how your body reacts when it's under pressure. When you acknowledge that your body reacts in a certain way when it's under pressure, under stress, whether or not it's through family, friends, work, or when you're going out for a run and doing exercise, recognize where that stress comes from. And when you do, implement those protocols of these techniques in order to stay composed under certain pressures. Make a conscious effort for a stop sign in your head to make sure that your body does not react in a certain way. And most importantly, your body does not become reactionary to what the aggressor or what the stress is coming from. Do not give in the power to the person that's giving you or the notion that is giving you stress. When it comes to an argument, one of the few things that I've taken away from these situations and that I've grown from is the idea that you need to be able to understand the greater consequence of certain things. When you engage in certain arguments, is it worth it to go overboard, right? When your body then experiences stress from the other person, from shouting at you, do you continue or do you decide to leave the situation and regather your thoughts and then come back to that situation and be like, okay, I'm sorry? Most of the time, my reaction would be, you're right, I'm wrong, and I leave the situation in order to avoid anything potentially greater from happening. And that's how I stay calm and composed instead of making my body reactionary to the aggressor and saying to myself that it is not worth it. And sometimes arguments are not worth it because it creates bruising and tension and a situation where you want to go an eye for an eye. And sometimes that kind of situation that boils too much is really not worth it. And so it's important in those situations, especially in those situations, to really stay in control of your own body and really not let ego get ahead of yourself and what is right. And that's the most important thing, what is right. For example, if you ever bump into a bystander who's walking past, be the bigger man or be the bigger person and just say sorry and apologize and not, extend it any further. It's not worth the hassle. Don't overthink these situations. When it comes to friendships or relationships or family, don't overthink situations when you're having social gatherings with them. I think just take it step by step. But I think one thing that is really important is to recognize when you see a toxic person in the room. Not to completely avoid them, but understand that their words come with a grain of salt. Try to not be provoked by that, and try not to be too upset, and don't again, just like from the last video, don't take things so personally. We have to analyze and proactively discuss stressful situations. And when we do talk about these stressful situations, we have to, see what's wrong, see what we did wrong. How do we prevent it? Because prevention is so much better than trying to cure something. Preventing that from happening next time, and understand that it is all a learning process, and to not beat yourself up over it. I think the most important thing is that you learn and don't make the same mistake twice. When it comes to work and just staying focused and not procrastinating, I think is one of the biggest things that most teenagers struggle with, especially myself. That's one thing that I do struggle with a lot, is not procrastinating. But one thing that I do say is to better get it done now than better get it done later. Because the moment you say later, you keep pushing it back without ever setting yourself a time to do it. And so you just do it now and get it done now. Then you have as much time as you want to then do whatever the hell you want afterward. You'll be more focused. You'll understand that you have a world more time than you have. and you're not constantly burdened by this weight of work that is upon you. It's so important to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep on a regular basis, and to also be well fed and well recovered, because one of the main causes of work stress and as a result bad behavior is because we don't get enough sleep and we get cranky and we don't feel well in the morning, and in general we just don't have a great lifestyle. And when that happens, we just lose our heads and we lose our minds. And when we do have sleep, the most important thing that we get from it is that we can stay composed much better than if we don't have enough sleep. When it comes to working out and going for a run, or for team sports or jiu-jitsu, for example, where you're in a combat situation, I take a different mental approach when it comes to sports, just because of the nature of it. You know, for example, when I'm going for a run, I try to focus on breathing specifically. So breathing to a beat, a certain rhythm. I try to inhale a lot and slowly exhale bit by bit, so that I get just enough air so I don't pressure my body and I keep my heart rate at a very low heart rate. I do that because I don't worry about how painful my legs are, how bent my back was, and how much pressure is on my feet. That's how you build up that kind of defiance and resilience in your body. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, for example, which is a very combat-based sport, it's just one person fighting another person. Trust in your practice, trust in your training, and trust that it will come through. Because the more you if you know you've done the work, then you literally can just your body will instinctively know what to do when it's under pressure, when you're on the bottom and you're really being beaten up. Staying composed means don't give yourself up to the aggressor. Don't let him, just because he's putting you in a leg lock, don't let that affect you. Your body will do the work to get out of it, but what you, in terms of staying composed, is to know the next moves ahead of time, so that you can then inflict that same damage when you get in that same situation. When you do that, then you will always be ahead and never be behind, and not reactionary to what your opponent is doing to you, especially in mixed martial arts. When it comes to team sport, I think one of the most important things is to stick to your own game plan and stop worrying about what other people are doing. Stick to your team's identity. Stick to what your team is good at instead of what they're good at. Because when you're at your strength, it will always beat their weakness. And that's why I think sports in general teaches you, and it translates to work stress, relationship stress, friendship stress, or any of that kind of other stress. It really helps to condition you to be in control. I owe sport a lot of credit for me growing up, not being able to control my situation and having anger issues when I was younger, and now being able to control my body when someone is verbally attacking me, or when I feel stress in work, or when I am under stress in a sporting situation or a friendly situation. It has really helped me over the years to stay composed, relax, and understand that nothing is that worth arguing over, or nothing is that worth stressing over. These are all psychological and mental barriers that each human goes through. And I think that's why this video is so important to so many people, because I feel like this is something that I would tell myself when I was younger, and I feel like this would help a lot of people out there who are also struggling with these things. And I hope this video is of immense value to some people, and if you guys like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and really appreciate any support that comes my way. Without further ado, peace.